Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday, as we're going to have plenty of things to talk about today. We're going to get to what to watch for, presented by our friends over at Bryant Technologies. We'll also get into a vibe check presented by Basis Health, our Alumni Hall question of the day. A little bit of buy or sell action. Or actually, you know what's more likely? It gets all mixed up with BetSaracen, but they're one of our sponsors, and we're going to make sure we have some fun with that too, and get to all things Razorback baseball, basketball, football, all the crazy stuff going on. But fellas, how are we feeling on this Thursday afternoon?
Not too shabby. Yeah, not too shabby. We're past hump day. We're getting closer to the weekend. That's a good thing. Is NFL draft tonight?
It does start tonight. The first round is tonight.
I'm not watching it, but I guess that's a thing, you know. But no, doing well, man. Looking forward to getting to the weekend.
There's kind of a lot of little things going on, but nothing really big going on. Really, I'm just kind of waiting for this Arkansas baseball team to start playing better baseball, which they have done in this midweek series, but nobody cares right now. They're going to have to go out there and win a few games, get that goodwill in the fan base back. But yeah, there's a lot going on with like kind of NBA's going on, the draft's going on. You've got a little bit of portal action, but nothing really. There's kind of just enough little crumbs laying around for us to have things to talk about.
Yep, and that's what's going to make it fun, is we're going to take all those crumbs and eat them and talk about them, and it's going to be great. So yeah, we'll get into all the conversations and everything too. And also something that was really cool, which, by the way, everybody, we don't have like a set time of when we end the show. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but we don't have like a time where it's like, all right, hard out right here. But we are going to be ending the show a little bit early today, around 1:20, because Razorback head football coach Sam Pittman is meeting with the media at 1:30. That was announced yesterday, or sent out a press release. I wonder what he's going to talk about and everything. But still, I guess because of, well, I know why it is, but I kept thinking, I was like, okay, well, no spring game. We didn't get a press conference after the spring game. Maybe it was that. But then with all the news coming out with the Madden situation and transfers and all that, it's going to be one of the more, and I hate to even say this because it's not like it's a high bar, but one of the more interesting Sam Pittman press conferences that we've had, which about a week or two ago, I would have said that there was zero chance it'd be interesting. But it's going to be curious. It's going to be curious to see what he has to say and everything going on, not only with him in the program, but just the college landscape in general, dealing with this Madden situation and the story going on of Arkansas demanding their $200K back.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it's not going to be about. It's not going to be about him announcing his resignation, which is what so many people put in my Twitter mentions after. I mean, we just got the email, right? And so I just tweeted out, hey, Sam Pittman's going to meet with media tomorrow at 1:30. And people were like, oh, stepping down? No, he's not. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, the email said to kind of talk about wrapping up spring, but we know what most of the questions are going to be geared towards with this thing. I'm just very interested to see kind of how he approaches it, how he addresses it. Does he take the high road? Does he tell you to refer to Remy? You know, we'd ask John Calipari about injuries or like his assistant coaches basically, and they'd be like, you got to talk to the medical staff about that. Well, we never get to talk to the medical staff. Is he going to be like, you need to talk to Remy about that? And then we never get to talk to Remy, or is he going to address it head on? Like, I'm really interested. It's a big story. There's going to be more eyes than just Arkansas media and the Arkansas fan base on what he has to say today. And that's why we're getting off a little bit early, because we want to tune in and you know, kind of digest every word too.
And I hate to say this to burst the big bubble, but I've been thinking about it a lot. Are we sure Sam Pittman's going to say anything of note today? Because
I don't know.
He's got a lot of built-in excuses. For one, this is kind of potentially a legal situation, and usually when you have lawyers involved, you don't really say much publicly whenever you're going through a battle like this. He also has the built-in excuse of he's no longer the guy in charge of these decisions. They now have a GM who didn't make this deal originally, but I would imagine is going to be involved in this situation in some form or fashion. So Sam can do y'all got to talk to Remy about that thing. And then in terms of if there were any interesting questions to ask about the football team for this spring, they're not going to talk about that either because they don't want to give anybody any more ammo. And so, you know, it's just one of those things. I think there's a good chance he doesn't say a ton interesting today, but I know Sam Pittman. He's itching to say something. He just is going to like kind of have to walk around the booby traps that Kyle has laid out for him, and we'll see if he successfully does that. I have a feeling he gives us more information than he's supposed to.
One of three things is going to happen, though, right? It's either going to be like the U of A tells the media who's in there, because the press conference is streamed on Zoom or whatever, so everybody can watch it, but it's only the people who are there who can ask the questions. If it's going to be like hey guys, we're not talking about this, if that's a thing that's said beforehand, B, Sam Pittman has like an opening remark, like an opening statement where he says, and that's a good point, Andrew, about what you just said. Hey, lawyers, whatever, I can't say anything, just, appreciate you, whatever. And then moving on. Or 3, I wonder if it's going to be like, who gets the first question? Like, who gets the mic first? And are they going to do the thing where like, oh, well, why don't you tell us about your overall thoughts on how spring practice went before they get to what everybody's listening for? It's going to be one of those 3 things.
Yeah, that's what I look at, where if he comes out and says that, right, or for one of the 2 things that you said, whether it's Kyle or whoever said, hey, we're not talking about this before the press conference happens, or he says a statement quick and that's all I'm going to say about it, it might be the record for the quickest press conference of all time, because I'm telling you, this is what, and even if it's not directly asking about this particular player, there's still going to be everything connected with it, like the Remy Cofield aspect. How did he have anything going on here? About the new quarterback that just signed, he'll talk about him, but it'll be like, hey, how'd you guys find this guy? When did you start looking at him? Did you look at him as soon as Madden entered into the portal, and then you were just like, oh, we need this guy? I mean, had you been looking at him previously? What was the story behind him? It's like everything's going to be connected to this one story. So I really hope, I'm not saying he has to tell all, because I don't think he will, but I really hope he does at least share this whole thing, because with Hunter Yurachek putting out that statement, it opened it all up. It opened it all up to where, okay, well, your athletic director's talking about it. Your AD's going on Twitter and throwing it at. So you probably need to talk about it too. It would be lame to me if you got Hunter Yurachek doing what he did, and then when you get Pittman one-on-one, man, all right, so what's your perspective on this? What's this through your lens? And he just goes, I'm not here to talk about it. It's like, at least do something. Even if it's politically correct, just say, well, Hunter put out that tweet, and I agree with him that we need to enforce these rules and these contracts, and maybe goes into a little bit more about what the contracts usually look like. It doesn't have to be specifically with that, but just, you can't come out there and say nothing and just, no, we're not talking about this. You just cannot do that, because then it was all just a waste of everyone's time, in my opinion.
Dude, imagine, just like this whole situation happening, canceling the spring game and the autograph session, a couple hours before it happened. And then, like scheduling a press conference and then not addressing any of those things. Yeah, I mean, it would be absolutely wild, but not entirely unprecedented or surprising, if I'm being honest.
No, and I see this comment here from Johnny. Says, honestly, when does Pittman ever say anything interesting? Which, look, maybe I missed something, but like, I gotta be honest, in terms of press conferences, kind of a lot. Like a lot of times when there's stuff going on, Pittman says something he's not supposed to say at the press conference. Hell, we did an entire live stream. I guess it was in December after the season, when Pittman addressed the media ahead of portal season and said all this stuff about, hey, we ponied up. We got a bunch of NIL. We're about to go out here and land some dudes. And then clearly he wasn't supposed to say that. They didn't go out and land dudes. And so we've talked about that. I remember whenever like all these things about, when they fired the OC, when there was talk about new collectives and all that, Pittman gives us a lot in these press conferences, actually more than he's supposed to, more often than not. Now, obviously, he's going to have some censorship from the University of Arkansas. They're going to tell him what he can and can't say. And so that's kind of the question here. But like, actually, I would say Pittman is famously like always saying too much in these press conferences, lying about certain things, talking too much about conversations he had. I mean, at a press conference is where we got the whole thing about, yeah, I told Coop, man, if you're going to redshirt, I don't want you a redshirt and going somewhere. Like all of this is tied back to press conferences.
Yep.
So actually there's a pretty long and detailed history of Pittman being very interesting to a fault at press conferences. I hope that trend continues today.
Yeah, I do too. I really do. In fact, we'll talk more about that and talk about what we're going to be watching for in the Sam Pittman press conference. And it's, of course, brought to you by our friends at Bryant Technologies. They deliver that high-quality network infrastructure and security camera solutions to your business and to your home, where they have their workmanship, their commitment to keeping your business operations seamlessly connected and secure. It's the best of the best. It's structured cabling, security camera installation, digital signage, TV mounting, all of those things. Bryant Technologies is going to have you covered, not only here in the state of Arkansas, but all the bordering states of Arkansas, which is a lot of them. So if you're in those areas, if you're in those states, they can take care of business for you too, where they have all of your network and security needs taken care of. So give them a call today at 870-883-0330, or you can check out their website at bryantstechnologies.com with an S in between, bryantstechnologies.com. It's Bryant Technologies, quality work guaranteed. And so that's going to be what we're watching for in Sam Pittman's press conference, and what comes from that. I'm also curious, guys, because this was the discussion a little bit yesterday when more and more like little bitty details come out from this Madden story and everything. But it was being reported yesterday from I believe it's Pete Nakos from On3. There's a lot of people putting it out there, but talking about how Arkansas has sent a demand letter to Madden saying, "Hey, we want our $200,000 back." Like, that's been sent to them. Well, you need to give it back. But it mentioned that they had sent 2 demand letters to incoming freshman transfers. We didn't get the name of the other one. And so I think a lot of people started speculating, like, okay, so who's the other demand letter to? And if it is, like, who is worth throwing a fit over not getting the NIL money? That just kind of sparked a whole new thing too. Of like, I'm going to be curious if Sam Pittman brings that up, or if he's asked about it. Like, hey, there was this report that 2 players have been sent a demand letter. Can you tell us who the other player is? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I think that was pretty fascinating that it isn't just Madden, but they're trying to get money back from somebody else who left into the portal as well.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And I wonder, did that demand letter go out before Madden's did? You know what I mean? Like, it was a situation where they're just like, listen, we're not dealing with this BS. I mean, if this happens, we're gonna get our money back. Or was it the Madden situation? They're like, all right, well, this kid also did it, or for the sake of consistency, we got to send him one too, even if he's making pennies on the dollar, comparatively speaking. I wonder what the timeline of events look like there. But yeah, that was interesting, because at first, I think where I first read it was that Front Office Sports article that just said, hey, they've sent out 2, and it wasn't specific at all. So then we were texting back and forth in the group. We're like, God, man, who could it have been? Could it have been one of the guys who went to Ole Miss? Did it have to be a football player? I mean, what's really going on here? And then we got a little bit more clarification. I guess that narrows down the pool, but interesting to say the least that this is not an isolated incident, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and so I mean, I see everybody kind of throwing out their theories. Oh, is it Kudus? Is it Braxton? Is it whoever? If we're taking Pete Nakos at his word and we're saying it's a freshman in this freshman class, the one that really makes sense would be Jace Brown, the receiver that was of course came with Madden, except he didn't really come with Madden because he never showed up to campus. And so that's kind of what my next question would be, if we're assuming it's him, is did they pay him anything and he didn't even come to campus at all? And it doesn't seem he ever will come to campus. If they paid out something to him, then I guess that's kind of just probably on them, where it's like, why were you wiring money to this kid who's not even on campus? Maybe that's the situation. Quentin Murphy, of course, Arkansas's freshman quarterback / receiver / athlete. I didn't necessarily peg him as a big time NIL check casher, but I guess he's the other candidate.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to look at other ones that could be in there, and I'm sure there's another one, but that was the first one just popped in my head, just as far as timing goes, because I think he was a little bit before Madden. But like you said, Andrew, it's like, is he a player that you paid him that much where you're demanding a letter? And if so, I think that's more of an indictment, not against the kid, but it's like, I get it for a 4-star quarterback out of California that's one of the highly regarded players, but are you just throwing money around like that for players like that? That starts to beg the question of why and how and everything. But yeah, I think Quentin Murphy is, I don't want to assume anything, but he's definitely one of those that would be eligible because he was an incoming freshman that entered in the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's a weird deal, because I'm with you, Andrew. Like, I mean, at some point you got to look at it too and make the determination. I guess there's no harm in sending a letter saying, hey, you received this, you didn't hold up your end of the bargain, give it back, versus actually pursuing it. Because I got to imagine, like, some of these NIL deals, honestly, it wouldn't even be worth the court costs to go and try to recoup that money. Just being honest and speaking on it. But I guess if it was just a demand letter that was sent, because if there was like an actual lawsuit filed or whatever, that would probably be a public record that people could find. Yeah. So, man, I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to just, I feel a little bit uncomfortable attaching names to it because we have no idea.
Right.
Yeah. You know how people spin things or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, Inside Arkansas saying whatever. But, it's speculation. And when you're getting this reporting out there, I mean, if it's true, then, John, you're right. I mean, it really does narrow it down to just a a finite number of people here.
And again, also there could be varying amounts where they might have just sent a letter because they kind of have to, of like, hey, any of our freshmen who transferred out before their deal was up, if we're going to go after Madden, we have to go out for all of them. So it could be very well they sent Quinn Murphy a letter and they're like, hey, send us that $500 back or whatever, just because they kind of have to keep up that appearance. Who really knows? But I'm sure that number or that name is going to come out soon, right?
I would imagine.
I would think, yeah. And, it's also, knowing these things, is if there is a lawsuit, trust me, my buddy Brendan will find out. That dude just looks at FOIs nonstop for some reason. But either way, about like the letter that they send, I'm not saying the U of A does this with everybody, but I also think a lot of these cases is probably just an intimidation thing of like, hey, do this. Even if they don't have like the legal standing, even if they're not going to legally pursue it, and maybe it's just be like a scare tactic of like, hey, you better do this. And then they'll be like, oh no, I don't want to get sued here. It could just be something like that. So who knows? Because it doesn't cost anything to send a demand letter. It's not like, we got to get the lawyers in here and they're going to be charging us $1,000 an hour. And no, just like you send it and be like, hey, give us our Venmo back. You can request the refund of the Venmo we sent you and go from there. So who knows? Maybe that's worked for them. Maybe that's something that they want to approach it as. But it's something where I'm wondering if first off, I know their fact that this is not just two that a University of Arkansas athletic department sent only. Like, who knows? They could have sent it to every one of those dadgum transfers, like that went to Ole Miss, that went to all these places. If they had kept the money or whatever, they probably sent it to all of them too. So it's certainly something that continues to happen. But the approach I'm gonna be curious about is how they do it, and also like this new quarterback that they actually just got in today. Which is Trevor Jackson. I think Andrew, you mentioned him. Yesterday. Yeah, Trevor with an E from Florida State. He's officially signed with Arkansas. It's gonna be interesting to talk about him and hear from him from Pittman. But also, what did they fork over NIL for him? Or how much did they? Did they, give him the same amount? I don't know. Like, those are the things that just is going to be fascinating. Some things we'll know, some things we won't. But at least they were able to add a quarterback quickly to help out the depth in the quarterback room, especially with him. And also our guy, Austin Ledbetter, entering the transfer portal too. So shout out to him. But,
2 big blows.
I will give him credit for replacing this 4-star quarterback with a, much more drama-free and probably less expensive 4-star quarterback in like 48 hours. Man, that's pretty good work. So credit where it's due. We're the haters over here, but that's nice work.
Yep. Yeah, no, I like the pickup of Trevor Jackson. I don't think he's like gonna change the program or completely shift the dynamics in the quarterback room. But you had a kid in Madden who had 0 college snaps. Now you've got a kid who's at least got a couple college snaps.
That's right.
And like you said, former 4-star, same class as KJ Jackson. Kind of gives him a little bit of competition for that backup job. We'll see how good. Maybe they'll get him on campus and be like, hey, actually, this kid's unbelievable. He's a young, talented kid. Maybe there's something there. But I think you needed some type of depth, and they went out and got it really quickly.
Yeah. And I saw some people like were saying that they felt like this is an insult to KJ Jackson or whatever it is. And I'm like, I don't understand that at all, because they already had a 4-star quarterback that was already there. And they're not saying that, we're bringing in this guy to be the second string quarterback. Like, they didn't say that. They just, you need a quarterback room of quarterbacks, and they lost a quarterback. So they went and added a quarterback.
KJ has more experience than this kid.
Literally.
Yeah. Like, he's played in more college snaps than this kid.
This kid was a 3rd string quarterback last year in a worse quarterback room. So,
Right. Yeah. And honestly, and who knows, like, I could be wrong. Maybe he ends up being great, but I doubt he even sees the field this upcoming football season. Like, unless things really go awry. So yeah, it's not anything like that, but we'll get to the chats here in a little bit, but some other things too. I'm sure that we'll hear from Sam Pittman. He had a few other players transfer out of Arkansas. Juju Pope, who was coming in as a linebacker originally, part of the 2024 class, and then they flipped him over to running back. He's officially entered into the transfer portal. He had some really good offers too, coming out of high school. Alabama, Oregon, Michigan, places like that. Didn't really see any time. He was a redshirt freshman last year. And then the local kid, Shamar Easter, officially enters into the portal, who was a wide receiver. He got moved to tight end right before the Texas Tech game. And then guess it just didn't work out. So he's moving on as well. So 2 other players that have hit the portal here in the spring side of things.
Did y'all see Trey's tweet about this? Trey Biddy, he said, do you think this is a sign that Arkansas has Juju Pope transfer and Shamar Easter transfer right after the Pope died and Easter happened. Is it proof that we're living in some sort of matrix?
I didn't see that. That's pretty good.
I'll give Trey credit. That's a good tweet.
Yeah,
that's
a
really
good
good.
tweet. I didn't even think about
Shamar
that.
Easter, I feel like, is a sad one because, like, he was such a big recruit from Ashdown. There's been a nice little pipeline there of players from Arkansas. I feel like he was a guy that, we were talking about yesterday about guys that the fan interest outweighs what they actually do. I feel like we get asked about Shamar Easter all the time. Sam Pittman was getting asked about Shamar Easter in press conferences during the season last year, and he's like, the dude is not playing. Like, I don't know how else to word that. They had the little bowl practices where they were like, hey, he's a wide receiver. Then they did not play him in the bowl game. And if you're a receiver on the roster who did not play in the bowl game, and I think he did play, Shamar Easter played like 2 snaps or something. I think that's a sign right there that it's like, if you didn't play in that bowl game at receiver when they had nobody to play receiver, you're probably not going to play when they add people that they actually want to have on the team.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I looked at it. I'm like, they were out there throwing walk-ons to get on the field just to put together a full team. And if you couldn't see the field in that, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's just the way it is. So, but yeah, a lot of football stuff going on. We thought spring practice was over. Good grief. There's plenty of stuff to talk about. And I will ask this question before we get to the chat, guys. Honestly, if it wasn't for all this stuff with Madden and everything, does this press conference even happen with Sam Pittman? Like, do you guys think that that this was planned all along to have it? Because it being announced yesterday that it's happening today, less than 24 hours, I can't help but think that this is all related to it. But I feel like if all this wasn't going on, we probably wouldn't even hear from Sam Pittman again until SEC football media days.
Yeah, I definitely was not expecting to hear from Sam Pittman again until SEC football media days. So I think it's strategic in nature. We'll see what's said. I hope it's a doozy.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I think a State of the Union is always nice. Hell, we were begging for some of this during portal season. There was a stretch there where we were like, we're never going to hear from him. And so, yeah, I think that they probably, in hindsight, were probably like, it kind of sucks that like we didn't do any type of like post spring recap. Then they probably thought, nobody cares. Now they realize, hey, actually, people do care. People are talking. Let's keep them talking.
Yeah, I can't wait for like the second question at the press conference to be like, so Coach, how do you feel like you address the defensive line depth? And you're just be like, shut up. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear about the good juicy stuff. We don't care about who the backup defensive tackle is. Like, just don't do that. So it's going to happen.
What did you see that you liked in Phillip Lee out of try? I saw he was 190 pounds as a freshman. Added some good weight over there on the edge. What just talk about what you saw in him.
Oh, I'm gonna just die. I'm gonna be throwing things during that press conference, but it's gonna be fun though. It's gonna be fun. So let's get to your chat, folks, with a little vibe check presented by our friends at Basis Health, where they're changing the way that healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home in person, and they will provide the urgent care that you need, the primary care that you need, IV hydration. I mean, everything. They will provide it for you right there in your own home. That's why Basis Health is forward thinking and doing all the great things to keep it going and to keep making it easier on you to get that care that you deserve. So they are here for when and where you need them the most. So you can learn more about them at basishealth.org today. Appreciate our guy Dre being a partner of us here at Inside Arkansas. So, okay, getting to a few of your chats. Of course, we got to start with super chats because those people give us money. Shout out to Paddlefish. He says, crazy would you rather? Cooper Flagg forgoes NBA and transfers to Arkansas to play with Trevin at the 4, or Jalen Williams leaves the Thunder to come back to Arkansas to do the same thing next season? That's a wild question, man.
Give me Cooper Flagg.
I would say, I'd say Cooper Flagg. And I love Jalen Williams. Yeah, I love him, but I mean, Cooper Flagg is Cooper Flagg. So
I like
go with that one.
Yeah, I think I will stick with the number 1 overall pick who's probably going to be like a top 25 player in the NBA like tomorrow. I'll go with Cooper Flagg here, but we do love Jay Will.
Mm-hmm. And I think even, you know what? And knowing Jay Will would probably go with Cooper Flagg too. Like he'd be like, yeah, no, you got to get Cooper Flagg in there.
I do love that Cooper Flagg's like got to go play with TB.
Yeah.
Got to see what that's like.
We got to put that in there. People are so afraid to even mention adding a power forward to this roster because they don't want to hurt TB's feelings. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's Arkansas basketball is just terrified of a depth chart, man.
Yeah, you can't add Cooper Flagg, honestly, because that would probably piss Trevin off some.
Yeah.
Honestly, do you think it has anything to do with that? I forgot which game or press conference it was when Brazil came out and was he hadn't been playing a whole lot, but then he had a big game, and he was just like, yeah, if I actually got the opportunities, I could, play better. I wonder if that has something to do with that.
I mean, listen,
Maybe.
Trevin's stability is certainly something to think about, and it's something to be like, oh yeah, like we gotta make sure we keep, because he's one of those guys you kind of have to make sure everything is good before you send him out there. That being said, I don't think you should build your roster being like, hey, we cannot have any other players at his position. And I love Trevin Brazil, but it's like I just don't think that's this type of situation. I don't think Arkansas should ever be operating that way. And by the way, I don't think they are. Like they've brought in plenty of front court help. Like I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah. Imagine John Calipari being like, well, we can't. This great players right here, but we just can't bring him in. Like, because our guy TB is going to get upset. Like,
well, I will point out that there is not another 4 on the roster. I mean, there's not. I mean, they got centers, but there is not another player at Trevin Brazil's position on this roster.
Well, I bet you there's a player on this roster that has 4 in their heart, and they could go out there and they could play the 4. Be that Adriel Bailey. Like that guy that can play post at 6'6". Yeah, I'm sure that could happen. Shout out to a guy, John Simpson. Just if you send a chat, man, we didn't see it, but
he did. No, he sent a follow up. I started.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. My bad. Okay, I see this. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm a diehard Kentucky fan, but I hope you all get Perry. And we come in there next year and he scores 40 on us, so it will shut the haters up on the UK pages. That is a why. Are you sure you're a Kentucky fan? Wow.
I love that John Calipari's first signs of life post portal window closing was contacting the guy from Kentucky that everybody said he didn't want anyway when he signed with him at Kentucky a year ago. I mean, it's pretty funny.
I wonder how hardcore that contacting was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he has the number already. It might have just been a simple, hey, big head.
Yeah. Well, I saw, because it was Joe Tipton said per his agent, Nate Conley, that Ole Miss, Arkansas, Maryland, Vanderbilt, Louisville, Iowa, Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, Western Kentucky, and South Carolina have all contacted him.
Right away,
list, actually.
Too long of a list.
Yeah.
Like there's no way all those teams are dead ass like putting a package together. I think he maybe has 3 committable offers from that list.
Yeah. Hey, he needs to go to Western Kentucky. He needs to be a hilltopper. Just stay in the state, man.
Now, was he from Western Kentucky? I know there's BBN fans in here. Is Travis Perry from Western Kentucky or Eastern Kentucky? There's people talk about that stuff all the time in like the particular county that they're from or whatever. Because I think depending on which side of the state he's actually from, he might only be able to play at one of those schools.
He played high school at Eddyville, Kentucky, which population of 2,500 people.
I like
and
that.
It looks like it's it's western, very western.
Okay, okay, so hilltopper it is. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Joy to the world. Thank you. Okay.
Because he's also I didn't realize he was born in Lexington, so they moved away from there though. They had to get away from Big Blue Nation.
Okay,
so that's how I look at it.
To make a good hilltopper.
Yeah, I'll have a TOPS tops. What's his name is still not the coach there, right?
No, Rick.
Yeah, no.
Dang.
No.
Hoping he was.
They've gone through like 3 coaches since then. They had the dude who I think went to Oklahoma State. I think is what happened, Lutz or whatever.
Oh,
and then now I don't know who's over there now.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't follow Western Kentucky, but I don't care.
Come on, Curtis.
At Western Kentucky.
I just like their mascot. You're right.
Yeah. Bobby Petrino. And also, I keep bringing this player up. But you guys remember a guy named Patrick Sparks? Probably don't, but he played at Kentucky. He was the little white bald point guard that was number 22. He transferred from Western Kentucky to Kentucky, one of the Billy Clyde Gillespie specials.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
How about that? And stick that in your pipe and smoke it. All right. So a few chats here we'll get to as well. It's for me, says day 2 of asking Madden to bring me my money. Yeah. He's going to send you an envelope. Get you your money back. Sweet Arkansas Gal says lunchtime with the IA dudes. Question of the day, is John still wearing his white hat? I am not. Sorry. I am not.
Not a hat day for.
Not a hat day. Yeah. Even though my hair still looks like crap, I decided to screw it. So, Pablo, our guy Pablo, says, will y'all hop on live to go over the Pittman meeting? Unless it's something really big time, we will. Like if he drops a bomb, but in all honesty, we'll post the press conference. Like we'll have it up there. But as far as really getting into the reactions to it, unless something's crazy, we'll just probably save that for Inside Arkansas Live tomorrow and get into that. So
Yeah,
I would
for
be
sure.
pretty surprised if he came out of this with like breaking news that we needed
Yeah.
to talk about. I mean, look, if I would gladly do it if that's the case. I just would be surprised if that were the case.
I
Me
would.
too. Somebody else in the chat, I don't remember if I started or not, but asked if we could stay on and stream. Yeah, stream it or whatever. Yeah, media can't even record these Zooms anymore. You've got to wait, and there's like a media hub that they posted in, and you can upload it and stuff afterwards. But we couldn't do that even if we wanted to. So
I'm
sorry.
gonna ask you guys this on the air in front of everyone and God. Does that mean like what if that means we probably just can't like screen record it either and then like post it immediately? Like, right? That'd probably be bad. Like they don't give us the Zoom.
I think you could get away with it, honestly.
Okay.
But who knows? I don't know how hard it is to screen record the full thing.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of like what I did with those clips in the noon press conference where I just like clip it. I don't know, but I was just something I'm like, I don't want to rock any boats. We've done enough of that already.
I'm sure you don't.
Yeah, just pushing the limit here.
I want to at least be able to watch these things moving forward.
Yes.
But I get it.
Yeah. But of course, at this point in time, it's like, geez, you could just, as long as you have access to the portal, that's all that matters. The SEC portal.
Yeah.
Let's see a few other things here too. A sweet Arkansas gal says, question, do you know who the first player was who entered into the transfer portal in 2018, either from Arkansas or across all basketball?
No idea.
Not off the top of my head.
The first ever portal entry.
I don't know. But if we can look it up and find out for you, and we'll let you know.
There we go.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, that we already got to that one. This is from Ryan. He says, is the NCAA ever going to do anything to slow down transfers? Like, why are we okay with players transferring after their spring practices?
I don't know what are we saying we're okay with people transferring after spring practice? Like, I think everybody's pretty much unanimously against that, and that's kind of what the message on the show has been, that we think it's kind of out of hand, and it's literally happening in real time. Arkansas is fighting a legal battle with a player who left after spring practice after cashing an NIL check. That is exactly what we're talking about every day on the show.
I will say, like, there's also two sides of it, because, like, Arkansas went into spring practice with more scholarship players than they can field in the fall. So they're processing guys too after the spring. So if you're in a position where you can do that, then these guys have to be in a position where they can leave if they want to. Or you got to have it to where you better have your roster figured out beforehand. You can't be processing guys without letting them leave, and then vice versa. So there's two sides to this. And that's the other thing that's interesting about this when we're talking about, well, who the heck might have they sent another letter to or whatever? Not all these guys are necessarily leaving on their own volition. Like, there could be a mutual parting of ways, or, coaches saying, hey, just letting you know, you're not going to play here. And then guys feel like they have to hit the portal. Some of that stuff happens too. Maybe they're going to get a little bit more of a handle on it if they do this rev share stuff. But I think, knowing the NCAA and the way that this works, they're never really going to have great answers for guardrails to this kind of stuff.
The guardrails in this situation are just the teams and what they do. Like, for instance, if Madden Iamaleava were set to play at Arkansas this fall, probably doesn't fish his way out. If Quentin Murphy were going to play at Arkansas, probably wouldn't have transferred out. It's like a lot of these just come down to like a lot of these are probably transfers that were going to happen no matter what. But they do have windows, they do have things, and like a lot of the stuff that like you're referring to of people just like leaving high and dry, those really happen before spring most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and those are always going to happen forever.
Yeah, and also Ryan, you could have just ended with, is the NCAA ever going to do anything? You could just ended that with that, and the answer would probably have been the same. Let's see. Also, Luke says, y'all should make a segment called Discord Friday or something to discuss some of those conversations. It's a wild place sometimes. Wild place all the time. I don't.
Well, I mean, most of the time the arguments in there trickle over into here. Like they were arguing this morning about Isaiah Sealy playing for this basketball team next year, like what that might look like. Can he do it? Can he not? And that's half the argument over here in the chat that I see right now. So we usually actually get to it, Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not on purpose, but we usually get there.
Yeah. And also too, on top of that, it's kind of cool, but a lot of people who've been wanting, just like when we do live stuff, especially with Inside Arkansas Live, just the audio version of it, because a lot of you just can't get on YouTube and everything. Starting on Monday, in the Discord, we're going to start having the audio only version of our live stream at the same time. So we'll give you more details on how to do all that. But our guy Logan, been helping us out with that. But it's going to be a really easy thing to do. So, which is good because we're all about easiness. But we'll keep you updated on that. Let's see. David says Sam's just going to apologize to the fans for not having a spring game and will not talk about Madden.
This is very, very possible.
Yeah.
Which furthers the point of like what we were saying about would we go live right after? If this is the case, which is very much possible, probably not.
Yeah. We would. In fact, I would just be curious of how that press conference ends up going if they say they're not going to talk about it. Like, I know people will ask questions, but it's like it's just going to be okay. People are going to be jumping out like right and left. Like, okay, this is not what anybody wants to hear right now.
We were talking earlier about would they be doing this if it weren't for the Madden situation? They might actually, just because of the damage control of how pissed people were about the spring game being canceled and the fact that there was and we called them out and we were like, how is there no statement from the coach? How is there no statement from anybody? So I think they probably were going to do something. I don't know if it would have been this quick. Maybe he would have just put out a little statement, but I bet he will do a lot of hand in his head apologizing. I'm so sorry for canceling the spring game and not signing your autographs.
Yeah. Which if I was able to be in there in a press conference, I'd wait till like one of the last questions and I'd ask him about like, hey, what happened to the autograph session that you said that was going to happen and didn't? Like, that wouldn't be one of the first questions I lead off with, but I would be curious to hear what he has to say of, that was a decision we made, they made the decision or whatever. Like, I'd be curious to know. Let's see. A few other things here too. This from Hogwood says, hey, John, losing a talent like Madden stinks. However, there's a good chance many of these young players will not return in 2026 anyways. This fall is likely to be a disaster. It's possible.
This is true, where even if Madden were, just a good, hardworking kid that just put his head down and didn't care about anything else, there's absolutely a possibility that Arkansas has a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new everything next year. In which case, Madden probably wouldn't be on campus either way.
Yeah. Did we really expect him to stick around at Arkansas long enough to wait his turn and assume the starting quarterback position? I don't think I did.
Yeah.
No, I didn't either. Let's see. Also, Quicks just says, take Madden's money and give it to Cal. Shaking my head.
The Madden money would not even be able to get Cal a 12th man.
There's nobody on this roster right now that would be able to be paid based on Madden's money. So
Billy Richmond's picking up the check whenever him and Madden go to dinner.
Maybe you could go get Travis Perry for that Madden money, but
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But it would only be for a semester though. You can only get him for half the year. Yeah. Like after that, he's gotta sit out for that type of deal, for that type of money. So let's see. Heartbroken Hawk says, so what you're saying is if the press conference is juicy, y'all are going live after? It would. Yes, pretty much. Like if it's something big, like if it's something that we haven't discussed, if it's something like he comes out, and I'm just using examples here. Like if he comes out and he says, like, it has a chart, like a PowerPoint presentation of like, here's all the stuff that's screwed up. Here's what these players are doing. This is what all happened. Then maybe. But if it's just stuff that we pretty much already know, and he just says a couple things here and there, there's just no reason to go live.
He needs to impress or surprise us with what he says. Like it's gotta be newsworthy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, wait an hour and people write stories with his quotes that.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I just want to read this because it's funny, made me laugh. Trey says, we need to get you guys credentials. Do we need to sign a potion? Yes, sign a potion.
Do sign a potion. Yeah.
We need some potion love. I know you meant petition, but it was just funny because I saw that. I was like, sign a potion. Got to sign a potion.
They might have to drink a potion over there to be fooled into doing it for whatever reason.
Well, and that's why I wanted to answer this question real quick. Johnny Young says, why do you guys not go to the press conferences? Because we're not allowed to. I know it gets, we've talked about it before, but we're not allowed to.
I don't think that's true. I think we could go to the press conferences. We just can't go to practice or games, right? Because they just send out the emails that are just like, hey, media, press conference here. We get to go into the Zooms or whatever, but they're always during the show.
Oh no, I was always under impression we can't even go to press conferences, but who knows? It's
they don't do credentials for press conferences.
Yeah,
I tell you what, it starts at 1:30. If you want to hop off the show now and drive over there and see if they let you in, then we'll know.
Well, I'm saying, but we've been to them before. They don't there's not a credential system for press conferences.
Right. I don't know how it
You
all
know what I
works.
mean?
I mean,
That's argument to have here on there.
uh,
Yeah, I whatever. I get it.
well, I'm just saying it's like, it's like, it's with it being on Zoom and everything. It's good to talk. It's good to have on that anyways. Makes it easy. Also, our guy.
I think, what's our combined? How many questions have we asked in press conferences throughout our entire media careers? Like 4.
I know I haven't asked me. So what if it's
I mean,
4?
like
It's been
even
y'all.
back in the day,
Like
even when I worked at Hog Sports, I never attended press conferences in person.
Yeah. And football, I think I don't even know if I've asked one because I always felt like I'd piss off the writers. We had this dumb radio guy being like just taking stories away from me. As I always try to avoid it.
When I was writing, I used to hate when people who weren't writing would ask questions because I'm like, this dude just asking questions for the hell of it.
Yeah, that would have been me. Also, our guy Trey says, "Hey, please film your fishing trip with the bass fishing team, please." Well, when all that happens and transpires and goes in, we're going to have some content for you, Trey. We promise. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. Get out there, do some bass fishing. So, yeah, keep those chats coming in, folks. We appreciate everybody tuning in and discussing it and everything with all this stuff going on. Also, want to do a little action here for what's more likely to happen. Presented by our friends over at BetSaracen. Go to BetSaracen.com. You get all the great sports betting that you can have here in the state of Arkansas. And it has Razorback baseball. You got futures. You got parlays. You got spreads. You got everything with NBA playoffs going on. I mean, everything you can possibly ask. They're the ones that do it. We appreciate them. And we're thankful for their partnership with us here at Inside Arkansas. You can download the app today on iPhone or on Android, or you can also check them out at BetSaracen.com. So a few of them that we can get into. And once again, you know what, guys? I am the worst at this. I got to start doing better at this and just putting it into StreamYard because I'm an idiot. And sometimes I'm just like, don't worry, that'll be fine. It's because I'm always about, the way it looks when it comes to everything like that. But I think we already talked about this one. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So if you guys had to choose Sam Pittman to not say anything about the Madden situation or say everything about the Madden situation, what's more likely?
Not say anything.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think the most likely scenario here is someone asks him a question and he says, I cannot talk about that.
Yep. I hope he does like some full, was it the Mitchell report or whatever? I'm not here to talk about the past. Just really keeps repeating the same thing over. Anyone asks, I'm just here so I don't get fined. I don't know. It'd be really, he'd go up another notch in my book if he had some fun with it from some previous press conference, something like that. This one was actually submitted. I thought this was interesting. It's hard to tell right now, but what's more likely? KJ Jackson has a better college career or Madden Iamaleava has a better college career?
Madden.
I was going to go Madden just because he's going to be playing in the Pac-12, and he probably won't be thrust into action until he's next year.
You mean the Big Ten at the Pac-12?
Oh yeah, I guess UCLA is in the Big Ten, which kind of actually does change my opinion on this a little bit.
Yeah, he could end up going to Washington State.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to go KJ Jackson. But I don't know. There's pretty much zero information on this.
It's a shot in the dark. Yeah,
that's all it is.
I'll go KJ Jackson, F it.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, just throwing it out there, see what happens. This one I laughed about. I don't know if you guys will find the humor in it, but sticking with the football and a little baseball in it. What's more likely? Arkansas gets all the $200,000 owed to them, or Arkansas wins the College World Series?
College World Series. It's College World Series. Yeah, they ain't getting that money back. I'm just telling you right now.
No,
there ain't no way.
No. Do you think that they've spent it already? Like one of those deals where they've did he spend it on a car? Maybe that was why he's like, hey, I don't have the money right now. Or do you think it's like actually just being in a bank? I wonder if it's still even available, even if they wanted to give it back. Would that happen? So, also a little baseball one here too. I think this is one. This is again another one that was submitted, but Vahiva Aloy's awesome and he's doing well. But what's more likely? Vahiva Aloy does not get to 20 home runs this year, which he has 16. Or Ryder Helfrich does not get to 10 home runs where he has 8 so far this year.
I guess I'll go Vahiva. But I don't know. I mean, Ryder's a catcher. I mean, catchers typically wear down offensively throughout the year. So actually maybe Ryder's the answer there. I tweeted yesterday, a video of Vahiva Aloy's home run and was just like, hey, could he get to 25? Like 12 people tweeted at me and were like, no. He's not getting to 25. So I don't know. Maybe the fan base is adamant about this one. They don't think he's getting to 25.
When's the last time a Razorback got to 25?
Now nobody's ever gotten to 25. I think. Wait, no. I think the program record. I think the program record's 24 from Ryan Lundquist in 1997.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Really?
I think he's going to get to 20. So
I think he's going to get to 20. He might get to 20 by the end of the damn weekend.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the way he's hitting right now, man, it's like I'm not putting anything past him. It's stupid, which we'll talk a little bit more in our Alumni Hall question of the day about it. But yeah, I don't know. I think and also Brighter Helfer, because we made jokes that he's polarizing in some people's minds. It's like him and Will McIntyre, man, just the guys that are just polarizing. Which shout out to Big Mac for a nice little performance last night, but still, yeah. So like I said, we'll talk more about that. But I think that it's going to be. I think Vahiva Loy is going to break the record. That's my little bold take. I think he's going to break the home run record this year.
I think it's very much in play, despite what the internet may believe. I think him hitting 25 home runs is very much going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And then you just watch it. If he doesn't do it, and if he's one short or something like that, someone's going to be like, "See, this is why he's not the best. He couldn't even break the record when he should have."
I'll say this: if he doesn't, it probably means Arkansas lost in the regional again.
Let's not even manifest that. We can't do that again. We don't want that again. But yeah, I thought I had more, but I guess my sheet did not put them in there. So yeah, if you have, some people like to submit them. So if you like to submit them in the chat, we'll read those as well to get into. But speaking of a few more of the chats, I wanted to bring this up as far as for the baseball side of things too. Jacoda said this, and I know Andrew, you probably saw it too. But he's like, Andrew, did you see what Hayden dad said about him before the baseball game would happen to Arkansas?
Hayden's dad.
I think he means Hunter Dietz.
Oh, Hunter Dietz. Yeah, I did see Hunter Dietz. By the way, did y'all see Hunter Dietz's dad? That is one of the most unfortunate things ever. Which, weirdly enough, when he didn't pitch, I wasn't like stunned, just because I was like, it was like a 4-0 game for most of the time. Although last year he made his collegiate debut in like a 6-4 game in the 8th inning against LSU, and Tommy White was at the plate. So it's like I kind of started thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I guess they could bring him in. I was a little bit confused by the what band would have hit him that would have caused him to have stitches. Like, dude, what machine was like? I don't know what machine, what tool he's referring to.
He must have really got popped.
Yeah, because for those who want to know the actual tweets from Michael Dietz, his dad, he says Hunter was up for his season debut after 1 year building back from injury. During warm-up, band mount, that's all it says, band mount, came off the wall, flew back, striking above his eyebrow with 10 stitches. Grateful it didn't hit his eye. Whenever he finally gets a chance, I know he will do great. Work so hard.
So it's probably like those little warm-up tubes or whatever that they have, and then whatever mounted it to the wall must have popped out. It's like plastic or metal. Yeah.
And the thing comes out and hits him in the eye.
Gosh, man.
Dude, I can't imagine, because I don't know exactly, but I think when I go to the gym, they have those big bands, you warm up. That's what I'm imagining. And then knowing how strong some of those things are, they're really strong where you got to pull. And for him to do that, oh God, someone needs to be fired for not mounting that thing properly. They didn't call Bryant Technologies for getting that thing mounted, because it came off the wall way too easily. But yeah, that's stupid. That is so stupid.
Yeah, that's like an all-time. I mean, this is becoming a cursed tenure at Arkansas. I mean, he's had like he said, a 1 year build up from injury. He was injured all of last season for the most part, and now he's basically back. He's finally back, going to make his debut, and that happens. So I wonder how long that's going to put him out for.
I'm not sure. I mean, because it's like, do you really need your eyebrow, to pitch?
Yeah, once you get it stitched up, I feel like you're good, right?
Yeah, I would think. But they only have one.
Hypothetically pitch in Florida this weekend.
Yeah, and they only have one midweek game left, right, for Missouri State.
There's only one midweek game, which I believe is in Springfield, right?
Yep, that's right.
And so yeah, I mean, who knows? Like I said, he made his debut last year on the weekend. They may just say F it. That'd be fun if he pitches in Gainesville this weekend with an eye patch. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I guess just a pirate eye patch. Maybe it's got a logo in it, like a Razorback logo. It's that'd be pretty sweet. Get on that, guys, because I don't think you need two eyes to pitch. Totally not. We had some people submitting some what's more likely. Fozzie says, what's more likely to happen? Razorbacks win College World Series, or Neighbors has 4 more hat streams? I think we can get 4 more hat streams out of you.
I'd rather win the World Series. So let's just go with that, because I don't know how many streams I've done with a hat, but it's not been 4. So I'll say that first and go with that. Ray just comes in and says, what's more likely, Curtis to score 40 points in a rec basketball game, or Andrew to hit a home run in 20 pitches? A lot of factors that you got to play into that.
I don't have enough stamina to be scoring 40, man.
I also wonder, like, am I in a rec league baseball game or what's the context of this? Like, am I facing Clayton Kershaw? You
How
know,
deep, how deep is the fence? What kind of game am I playing in over here? You know, like, is this like most of those games go to 21 or something? Yeah, is it half court or full court? A lot of stipulations here at play.
I would go Curtis 40 points just because I don't have a ton of power. Like if it's a regulation, if it's a fence 300 feet plus, I'm probably not getting it over.
Yeah, I feel like both would be. I'm not, and that wasn't asked about me, but I'm like, I feel like neither of them I could do. So,
were you hitting dingers in softball when you were playing that softball league?
No, I hit like 700 all singles and doubles, just absolutely spinning ropes, but no home runs. And you know why I didn't do it, Curtis? So many people on my softball team, it pissed me off so much. They would spend the entire time trying to go yard. In men's league, in slow pitch softball, if you do not get on base, it's because you are an idiot. Like, I just need to say that. Like, it's so frustrating watching dudes who can't hit for shit. And we lost every single game. My team did not win a single game, despite me hitting. I have it in my notes app. I'm pretty sure it's 714 is what I hit for the year. And did not win one single softball game because I had these assholes on my team who would just be trying to lift and launch and never hit. We did not have a guy hit the mega shit the entire season. I'm not even joking, but they tried every at bat and would pop out and strike out. I'm just like, good Lord.
Yeah. And that's also, I think, like some leagues do the thing where it's like, hey, okay, you get 2 home runs a game, and after that you're done. Because some people can do that, but yeah, it should be a little bit more than that.
It was 737, by the way, that I hit.
There we go.
Jeez. All right, let's see. John Doe says, if Arkansas loses this weekend to Florida, do they lose the chance to host home regionals? No. I'd say no.
Not even. I mean, they're currently projected, and who knows where the projections will end up. But if we're doing the like bracketology thing, every projection has them in the top 5 overall national seeds right now. And the top 16 host a regional. Would if they lose this weekend, you look at what they have left, you'd start having the conversation of, hey, will they be a national seed? Honestly, this may sound crazy. They could probably lose all of their remaining series and like maybe just take one game each weekend and probably still host a regional. Would they be a national seed? Most likely not. But I think, in my opinion, 20 wins is the magic number to get to national seed for Arkansas, and they're 13-5. But no, if they lose this weekend, like it'd be disappointing, and the fan base would probably freak out. But no, they definitely wouldn't lose their chance. Not to mention the teams you have in front of you. Like if you lose, say you got swept by Florida and got swept by LSU, you would still have series against Texas and Tennessee. Those are top 3 RPI type of situations. So if you win both of those series, then you're probably right back in the top 5.
Yeah. I just always think back to how crazy it was. Arkansas was in 18 and 19, they were a national seed and hosting and everything with 18 SEC wins. But in 2022, they had 18 SEC wins and they weren't even in like a top 16 seed. So
yeah, that was a weird year. They had, I think COVID ruined their schedule because this was like the first year post COVID. And their RPI.
Every time it's going to make a good point. Yeah. It was a weird year, though. It was a weird year for SEC play. Let's see. Also, we got Colton says, are y'all concerned if we drop the series to LSU this weekend?
If they drop a series to LSU this weekend, I'm very concerned.
Yeah. More things than that.
No, that's funny. I also saw somebody earlier say, like, would you be concerned if they lost the series to Florida? And I'm like, concerned about what? Like, in general, you always have concerns. You know what I mean? Like, hell, I'm concerned about whether or not they're going to win the national title. Like, but that's been the case every day for the last 6 months. And so it's like, my concern, I don't know if it would go, obviously I'd have to see it play out, but it's like, is our concern them hosting? If so, I'm not really concerned. Is it them being a national seed? I'd be more concerned if they lost to Florida, but I still would be like, they got plenty of opportunities in front of them. If we're talking about them winning the national title, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really like losing this weekend as Florida would just basically solidify that they are in a lull. They are in they are in their low point for sure.
Tough stretch. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a good segue. We'll get to more of your chats, but let's do your Alumni Hall question of the day presented by our friends over at Alumni Hall. If you go to InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall, you'll be able to see all the great Razorback apparel that they have to choose from, and they have everything fully stocked. They got hats, they got jerseys, they got polo shirts, they got Hawaiian shirts because they're big on the Hawaiian things right now with the Hawaiians that are on the Razorback baseball team. So they got everything, and you can shop them online at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall, or you can go in store and right there at 3417 North College Avenue. Use that code HOGSBY20. You get 20% off your purchase. Simple as that. HOGSBY20 for 20% off with our friends over at Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. So, simple question is that is Viva Aloy the greatest Razorback shortstop of all time? I mean, pretty direct, pretty straight to the point. As of right now, where it stands in our very accurate polling, 69% say yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to be with them, but I don't want to push it to 70.
Yeah, I'd say you got to just don't vote. Don't vote if that's the case. It's going to leave it right there. But yeah, because I know me and Andrew were talking about this a little bit. But I think, yeah, I would say right now, and I love my guy Balls Battles, but I mean, right now, overall, hard to say Vahiva Aloy is not the best Razorback shortstop, at least in my lifetime that I've watched. So
he's the man.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be an old person that comes in and is like, oh yeah, it was this guy in 1970, whatever, and I'll take your word for it. But I don't know anybody better. A shortstop's also not a super dominant position at Arkansas.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you brought up there. I mean, if it's pre like 2006 or something for me, I just don't know. I don't. So
yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about some other things too and get your chats. But I wanted to bring this up too from Paddlefish. He's like, LSU have to be a national seed to host regional. No, you don't. National seed is a 1 through 8 seed because the top 8 seeds will not only host a regional, but they'll host the super regionals if they make it to that point. That's a national seed. Seeds 9 through 16 are I don't know if they have an actual name, but they're not national seeds. National seeds 1 through 8. So just to clarify.
There's a very big difference between 8 and 16. I really don't think Arkansas could get all the way out of top 16. I really don't know how they would do that. Even if they lost every single series, I think they would win enough games. They'd probably end up still there. But very, very much different between you can host a regional without being a national seed. Obviously, you'd prefer to be a national seed, which I think Arkansas still got a good chance to do.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up this story real quick. This is not related, but because I know we're going to get off here a little early, so I want to try to get to it a little bit. Did you guys see about some of the reports about Chad Baker-Mazara and why he's leaving, and one of the reasons why he left Auburn specifically into the portal? This is coming from a few reports that said that he signed that Chad Baker-Mazara signed a $1.1 million deal to return to the SEC School of Auburn. He was upset when he discovered that the Tigers offered Keyshawn Hall double that amount. I think it was the Field of 68 said that, and I was just like laughing about it because I'm like, okay, so what did you think you needed to have more than that guy? I don't know, but I'm sure it had something to do with it. And he's crazy and everything, but it's just funny because I'm like, wow, if that's the only reason why he left, that's craziness, man.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been hearing all along. So no, that's not news to me. But in a way, I don't blame him. I don't know. It's a tough one for me because if I'm Chad Baker-Mazara, I'm looking at it and everybody, like they've lost everyone else. They're all gone from Auburn. I'm like, okay, I'm the guy coming back who helped lead this team to a Final Four and everything like that. I should be paid accordingly. And you're bringing in some dude from UCF, and he's making twice as much money than me. Hell no. So it's tough, but at the same time, and I think it was, I don't know if it was the Field of 68. No, it wasn't. It was who's Taylor Cornwell? Next Round.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to them talk about this exact thing, and what they were saying is it might be more of an indictment on Chad Baker-Mazara's representation because he should have never agreed to the deal that he signed in February or whatever before the season was over because he had no leverage at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And he waited it out and been like the last man standing, and they're bringing other guys in. You're trying to get him back. He could really be at the bargaining table saying, oh, Keyshawn Hall's getting what? I'll take this, buddy. And he would have had a leg to stand on. But after you already signed it before the season was over, it kind of puts you in a tough spot. So I don't blame him for going back and being like, yo, this is crazy. You need to run my money up. And I also don't blame Auburn for coming back to him with a counter offer that he didn't like. So it's kind of a crazy deal, man. But the Keyshawn Hall and Chad Baker-Mazara dynamic on the floor, like if you understand their personalities as players, was going to be very interesting anyway. And now we don't have to worry about it because it didn't work out before it even got started. Crazy, man.
You know, you said it there at the end. I kind of like see everyone's side here where like I get why Auburn wasn't thrilled to break the bank for Chad Baker-Mazara, especially when they got him to sign a small deal. And so it's like I have I don't think Auburn's in the wrong here, but I also, Chad Baker-Mazara being in his position coming off the year they had, and he was such a big piece, I see why he's upset too. But he'll get it from somewhere.
Yeah. And that's the thing where it doesn't matter because it's going to happen. But it's also one of those deals where I'm like, I wonder where this all came out. Like, as far as how did he find out how much he was making? Is it something that an agent told him? Or was it that Keyshawn Hall comes in and he was asked, hey, how much you getting, man? I got $2 million. Like, was it something as simple as that? Or was it, like investigations going on? Because we don't know as the public, but I'm just curious of how Chad Baker-Mazara ended up finding out that that's what happened and then go from there. So,
yeah, it's funny, man. And the other thing that's cracking me up is I thought about this with Muss the other day because they got Rodney Rice, great pickup from Maryland. I mean, he's the starting guard on that Sweet 16 team. A guy he should have recruited at Arkansas, like a knockdown shooter at guard. Where the hell was that a couple years ago? But all of a sudden, you like Jeff Goodman, everybody's putting this out. He's like, oh, he's getting $3 million. This is crazy. And the whole time I've got guys on Muss's staff. I mean, it's no secret. I still talk to those dudes and they're like, no, bro, like, he's not getting anywhere near that. Well, then Desmond Clodd, their best player, hits the port, and like half of their team winds up transferring out. So I wonder, and Clodd, I think it was going to happen anyway, but I wonder if any of them were like, wait, this dude's coming in here getting this much and I was making that. This is crazy. And then you've seen, people squashing the overhyped NIL nonsense from Kentucky. And I retweeted Rick Pitino earlier today, and he was like, it's hilarious to me how overinflated these reported NIL numbers are. And kids are seeing this on the internet from people who don't know what they're talking about. And they're probably going to their agents or to their coaching staffs or to their Remmies or whatever saying, what the heck is going on, man? This is crazy. And it's just wild to me because we've said from the get-go, these numbers that get thrown out there, it's reported, but nobody really knows. And for the longest, you would hear coaches saying, if you're hearing this, probably cut that in half. And that's about what it is. And it might be a little closer to true nowadays because the inflation and everything going on with all the markets, including the NIL here. But it's funny how people just say these things and people take it as gold, and it's just nonsense.
You really think people would just go on the internet and make up lies and just spread misinformation? That's just crazy. But no, it's why it makes it so hard to have conversations about any of this stuff, because you have some people that operate with all these fake numbers and things in mind of like, oh, Arkansas is going to need to have 25 million if they want to have a great portal roster. A number that just was made up. Oh, Kentucky spent 20 million. A number that was just made up. Oh, this player's getting 3 million. A number that, and so it's like, at some point, you kind of, there's some truth mixed in there, but it's really hard to have conversations where everyone's on the same page. And that's just in the fan base. So I can imagine for some of these schools, players, coaches, agents, it's all over the map.
Well, that was one of the first things I thought of when the Kentucky deal of $20 million came out, which it's not true. But I was just thinking if I was a Kentucky player that just signed on with them or transferred there, and I was getting like $1 million back. Whoa. Hey, hold on. You got $20 million and you gave me $1 million bucks.
Right.
Like, hold on a second here. That would be, and I'm sure that had to cause some damage control. Mark Pope had to sit some people down and, give them a juice box and say, hey, let's talk about, with the money and how it is and isn't this way. It was probably going to be that way, but that would be my first reaction when I was a player. But oh, excuse me, you $20 million and you gave me $800,000. Well, come on now. So I'm sure it causes a lot of distress there for coaches in the current roster too when all that happens as well. So, all right. So again, folks, we're going to end a little bit early here in about 15 minutes because of the Sam Pittman press conference at 1:30. And we'll, of course, post that press conference onto our YouTube page whenever it actually happens. But let's see a few more of your stuff in here. Let's see. Colton says, can Arkansas get both softball and baseball to the World Series, or one gets to the World Series and the other loses in the Super Regional? What's more likely?
Well, someone losing in the Super seems extremely likely.
Yeah. I would guess that. Yes. But I had to read that a couple of times to make sure I was saying it right.
They do both seem good enough to make the World Series this year, though, for what it's worth.
Yeah, they do. That's for sure. Also, Camel Hog says, y'all see Jonas Adu buzzed his hair off. We did.
I did see this, yeah.
Yeah. So,
interesting look.
Yeah. Which, by the way, today's Billy Richmond Day, apparently. That's what the University of Arkansas basketball social medias have been doing. They just dedicated a day. Yesterday was Trevin Brazil. The day before that was DJ Wagner. And today is Billy Richmond. So
I thought you meant it was his birthday. I was like, oh.
No, that would have made a lot more sense. But if they don't post the video of Billy, stop it! Then it's all for naught. They have to post that video today as part of it, because that's as part of anything of a Billy Richmond. It is. So
got to have him squaring up on Buddy from Kentucky. So
that's right. Who do you think? Will they have one tomorrow? Because they've gone through all the big returnees, right? So will they have one for the new players maybe tomorrow?
Yeah. Have they gotten to the freshmen yet?
No.
I don't remember.
I have to go back and look. Yeah. They post a lot of stuff, but I don't know if it's the day dedicated stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they'll post hey, check out this video. It's okay, but this is the Love Fest video, or is this just the, hey, check this thingy out? But I'm looking at it right now. It looks like, no, they have not posted the day of freshmen here just yet. So, man, you're gonna have to be careful with that, because, if you post the freshmen for the portal guys, they may get upset. So you gotta handle it the right way. But I appreciate that, though. It's fun just seeing some highlights and pictures and all that good stuff of the excitement surrounding it. So, Ryan says, if you preach that we don't know what the number is, then how can you just say no, Kentucky doesn't have $20 million on the roster?
Because the people within the program who are in charge of said funds are saying that that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Just like they are everywhere else. That's why. The reason those numbers get inflated in media and on social media and everywhere else is because it's within the best interest of agents to inflate numbers. That way they can utilize that in negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. He also asked us, he was like, all right, so what is the number? And it's like, we're telling you people are making up numbers. We're not about to make up a number. But
agents are always going to put high numbers out there, man.
Yeah. Just look at the roster. Try and find, seriously, in your brain, look at Kentucky's roster they have coming in. Try and find where 20 million would be allocated to. You'd be like, okay, is this random guard that averaged 6 a game, is he getting 5 million? It would be really hard to try and come up with that. And that's kind of our point, is that the numbers are always going to be inflated, and we're not going to contribute to fake numbers being thrown out there.
Yeah. And especially where it's even some of the numbers that may have some legitimacy of what I think it was On3 was saying that, these programs have, minimum 10 million that they're spending. It's if that's even somewhat believed, which if you have multiple reports saying that, then it may be a little bit more. When you come out and be like, 20 million, it's no, that's not the jump that you just make. You don't go from being, we think a little over 10 million, 20 million. Oh, well, why not 30? Just 30 million. Why not just say that? Throw it out there. You got to connect dots, folks. You got to take what you actually know, connect dots, and then be rational about the logic behind it is all. So,
and look, we talk about numbers all the time. I'm not saying the numbers don't matter and it's they're irrelevant. It's certainly a thing. And there's a lot of decisions made off of that. We're just telling you that a lot of the numbers are inflated, which we've known all along. We hear rumors of stuff all the time. I don't know why, and I see Ryan still getting upset in the chat. Why don't they just post the numbers? It's why do we actually need to know the numbers? We will talk about them when they come out, but it's pretty much everything we hear is going to be just that. You have to take it with a grain of salt. You can't just take everything you read on the internet at face value.
Yeah. And also too, it's you're talking about why do we care about the numbers? It's it's true, because you shouldn't care. And if you really care about the numbers, don't look at the numbers, look at the talent, look at the retention of the talent, and look at the talent you're adding, and you can kind of pinpoint, all right, well, who's doing really good in NIL? That's what it comes down to. Just kind of take what you got and put it together. I like this from Hogball Burner. He said, an NIL agent quoted my post about making fun of Kentucky NIL, telling me to stop pocket watching. So, okay.
Pocket watching will never die, though.
Nope. It's a term that's here to stay. And also, shout out to an NIL agent quote tweeting a Razorback fan randomly, just being stop pocket watching.
A literal burner account.
Yeah.
It says it.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Hogball Burner, after he tweeted that to you, are you going to be like, okay, you're right, I'm going to stop. Yeah. I've learned my lesson. I don't want to deal with that.
I've watched my last pocket.
Yes. I'm over it now. I'm over it. So, but yeah, we that's still interesting though. With like again, NIL, you can't have enough of it. I am curious to you guys' thoughts. Did you see what Albany's coach threw out there for a possible like situation? I thought this was pretty
I did see
fascinating.
that.
From Dwayne Killings, great last name. But he's the head coach. This comes from the article. He says he wants down transfers from bigger programs to come to Albany with a special conditions attached to players. He'll develop them, help them pursue it in their degree, and then after a year or two, send those players back to a high major spot. He said the reason why this idea came about is because I have my experience in the G League. During my time there, I watch a lot of players develop for the NBA. We're moving to a model like that in modern basketball. What about the money? Player would still get theirs. In Killing's vision, the high major NIL collectives could and would donate to Albany's collective to help that player, perhaps at the rate that they were beginning to play with, sort of like an insurance policy. Player would continue on their NIL deals, provided they remain academically eligible and meet the standards of both programs that they agreed to the swap. So, I don't know. That would be kind of interesting. I don't think it'll ever happen, but it'll be fun.
Good on a mid-major coach like that having just kind of a forward-thinking idea. Because they're just getting screwed otherwise. Like you have one guy who has one good year or whatever, and they're getting poached. You have to find a way in this landscape to still make yourself marketable. And I've heard worse ideas.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating to see how these smaller, schools kind of punch back. And I do think at some point there's going to be, this thing is just going to kind of play itself out. It's not going to come via actual rules and legislation. It's just going to come from stories that, like precedents that are set whenever these guys are angry and want their money back.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, like, who would you guys want Arkansas's mid-major team to be that they send them down to? Like the farm team for the Razorbacks.
Nobody in state.
Yeah, you can't do in-state. Can't do that. Yeah, it's got to be like Tulsa.
Oral Roberts. Missouri State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oral Roberts. I think if like any like really good programs that are relatively like in the region have been known for good basketball for a while. I mean, there's been some programs here and there, throwing them around there. I think those would be the most likely ones. I feel like there's not really any Louisiana schools like mid-major, right? That's had really great basketball historically. I'm sure they're.
McNeese now is pretty good.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like Louisiana Tech's not typically that great. Northwestern State made the tournament one time, and they made the Sweet 16 one time, but there's not a ton of basketball powers floating around.
I think Arkansas's mid-major team. Yes, that's pretty funny. Yeah, probably should. I was going to say maybe it should be Memphis as a mid-major because they are a mid-major.
Like that.
They're not a Power 5 team, so wouldn't that be a big slap in the face? Back here you go, Penny.
Mid-major Memphis, take our scraps.
Yeah, you develop them and send them back to us when they're ready.
I mean, we joke, but I mean, like, there's literally a player on Arkansas's roster who almost went to Memphis in a very similar situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with the Cal angle of coaching at Memphis, it could work. It could work out. But yeah, I think it's not going to happen. But I always appreciate the forward thinking and the stuff getting thrown out there and seeing if it's going to happen. Like that's really fascinating stuff. Let's see a few more chats in here before we. Paddlefish says, what's more likely, Ellis shaves his head if Arkansas wins the College World Series, or Michelle names the baby after a former Hog?
I don't know if Andrew would shave his head, though. He might get a haircut. Or do you have to keep it?
I was going to say, if Arkansas wins the College World Series,
you just have to keep it.
Anything ever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities for names, whether Michelle knows or not, that we could be naming our kid after a former Hog. I see Ryan with this. Yeah, the Pooh Paul. We can't go there because he went to Ole Miss. But I would hear out Snacks.
Snacks Wilkerson.
Yeah. I don't hate it, honestly. At least as a nick. And here's the thing: if Malik Ewan's middle name can legitimately be Flex, then I think I could sneak Snacks in as a middle name.
Yeah, I think here's what you should do, Curtis. You should go Courtney Fortson, like Courtney, spell it that way. Boy or girl, Courtney Wilkerson.
All right. Be another C-dub in the fam. So
and if it's a girl, you can really trick her and be like, yeah, Courtney, but we're going to spell it without the U.
I'm waiting on Michelle to peek her head around the corner and give me thumbs up or thumbs down. Sometimes she'll do that. But JT says, and I'm only bringing this up for one reason. He says, baby Billy Wilkerson. I watched the 1.5 episodes of the new season of Righteous Gemstones. So I'm getting caught up on that, Andrew. we'll have some things.
Curtis, episode, I think it's 3 or 4, is one of the funniest episodes of television you'll watch.
Good. No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna get another one in today. So,
I'm just gonna say that no matter what you name your kid, I'm gonna find a former Razorback of some sport that has that same first name. And be like, yep, here it is. Like if you named your kid George, I'm like, it's after George Wilson, former Razorback wide receiver of 2002. Like, yeah, you're just screwed no matter what. It's gonna be after a former Razorback because unless they just really get crazy with it and you find some name that no Razorback athlete has ever had, which I guess is possible, but I don't think you're gonna go through that type of research and development.
What we're not gonna do is any stupid names that are like spinoffs of regular names or anything that's spelled dumb. Right? None of that. No common name that's spelled stupidly. We're not doing it.
Like Amy. I knew a girl that was Aimye. I'm like,
exactly. Yes, exactly. That's the kind of thing we're just not gonna do.
You should name your kid Kingsley after all the Kingsleys in the chat, but spell it Leigh, Kingsley.
Oh God.
Jeez. Yeah. I just bugs me out too when I see some of these names, not to hate on anybody who has, because I know I have the most boring name of all time. Like I get it, but it's like when I see names that are just absurd, I'm like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here? Like all you're doing is just causing this kid when they get their roll call to be like, so is this your name? Is it misspelled or whatever? Or if you go to a place and you're like, the restaurant. Yeah. Can I get a name for that? Yeah, it's this name, but it's spelled this way. Like, yeah, don't even do that. Like with my name, Neighbors, it's not spelled the way Neighbors should be. So every time I go and say Neighbors, I'm like, Neighbors, Nabors. I just go ahead and get ahead of it because it's going to be that way. So, do your kids a favor. Listen to me, who doesn't have any kids. Do your kids a favor.
And his name John.
Yeah, just name him John.
His name John is the ultimate authority.
Michelle's giving me pushback over here with the spellings. And listen, I don't put my foot down over many things, but we're gonna have to have a discussion on this. I'm sure there's middle ground, which will be more in her favor that we'll find here.
You think she has a soft spot for weirdly spelled names because Michelle doesn't have an L, an extra
Maybe.
L?
Maybe.
Yeah, it could be. Let's see. Also, like you guys are coming up with some weird ones here. Like Finch is over here saying lemon jello. Like what? Her name? Okay. Whatever. A few more chats here before we roll out. John Sullivan says, Andrew, did you catch Hellfrey doing the Spider-Man meme when he caught his bat? When the catch caught his bat.
I guess I did not catch this. The Spider-Man meme, like the pointing one. I'm assuming.
Assume. Yeah.
Or maybe it was like a sick catch and he was doing like the,
yeah. I don't know. I guess I did miss that. And he only played for like 5 outs. So
yeah.
I guess I wasn't dialed in.
Yeah. Kingsley says, John, are you related to the roofing neighbors in DFW? No, I wish I was, though, because they got a ton of money, apparently. They are all over the place down there.
Was it also a shoe store or outlet? Remember the Oklahoma State thing?
Stillwater.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Shoe outlet and Gomer Pyle, because his name's Jim Neighbors and spelled that way, which is ironically enough my dad's name. So that's about all I got, though. Some people say like, oh, Malik Neighbors is better than John Neighbors. I'm like, well, it's spelled differently, so you can't do that. He's got an E in his. I never thought I'd see the day where it's N-A-B, but E-R-S. Like you're out of your mind, man. You guys are talking crazy here. Let's see. Oh, Finch. Okay, he says, John, that's literally a former student my mom taught. His twin's name was Orange Jello, but it was
Orangelo.
All right. Well, that's crazy.
That's wild.
Last before we get out of here, Bill Dodge says, so sick of this anti-Pittman BS. I don't know.
I just don't know where you found that today. I just don't.
Said maybe just see something on Twitter and he jumps in here and then someone says, Pittman should have done this. And they're just like, I'm sick of it.
Maybe. I think I know what it is, actually. I did say earlier in the show that there's a chance Arkansas has a new head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator, which, I could see how that sounds like anti-Pittman rhetoric. It was more just a commentary on just the situation that if Arkansas had a new head coach, Madden wouldn't have been here either way. I do want the records to show. I hope Pittman does not get fired.
Yes, because if he doesn't get fired, hopefully that means he had a good year.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So, and last one before we get out of Jago says, where can we watch the presser? You can watch on Inside Arkansas Live as soon as we post it, as soon as it's over with. It'll be on our YouTube page where you can watch it. So, all guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
No, I'm just on pins and needles waiting for this press conference. So
Yeah. Cannot wait to hear from our king, and we will try not to be mean to him.
Yeah. Well, we'll have the full press conference posted, and we'll also, again, unless some bomb drops, we'll go live after. But we're going to talk more about it tomorrow at Inside Arkansas Live. We'll have some clips and everything for you. So that'll do it for us. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here on Inside Arkansas on YouTube. You can also follow us on social media at Inside Arkansas. Check out InsideArkansas.com for all the latest, greatest, up-to-date information on all things Razorbacks. We'll keep it going from there. So for Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you then.